Hi, I'm Christopher Pluck. I'm talking to you from my studio in Red Bank, New Jersey. I'd like to tell you about my integrating system. In the 80s, after 15 years, 20 years of cutting geometric form and shape with Vidal and Paul Mitchell, traveling around the country, doing shows, it was brilliant. But I found that I was becoming stale and needed another spike of inspiration. So I looked deep inside of myself and found the barber I used to be. Back in the 1960s, in Glossop, Derbyshire, I met a man called Dennis Rose. He taught me the short back and sides of cutting hair. Scissor over comb, shaving. It was phenomenal. I never realized until I started thinking back, it exposed the bone structure. It showed me all of the root movement. And I said to myself, hey, by feeling the head and observing the root movement, I decided to finish the shapes I had started and blow them out and then go into them with my hands. So I had 3 sections of hair between my fingers. And I began to cross-check with a pair of clippers. Voila! I was inspired. The hair was carving off, and what I found it did, it created an individual shape from the graduated shape I just cut in. It became more personal to the customer and more personal to me. What else can I say? I'd started something I could not stop. So what my integrating system is, it's a combination of tools. It's using clippers, it's using scissor over comb, it's using weight shears, it's using clippers that take out weight, a debulker clipper. It's the integration of all these tools I bring together so that it becomes a oneness with your haircut. It takes into consideration the texture, it brings into consideration the bone structure, it brings into consideration all of these things. Covering aspect I want to teach you. You know the fine points of cutting. So bringing barbering into the fine points of cutting, which I began myself in the 1980s, is where we're going to begin with my videotapes. You'll see that I start on dry hair. Dry hair is always in its own natural position. Before I begin, I consult, I find out where the customer is going, what length, fringes, no fringes, shoulder length, up below the jawline, whatever it's going to be. I then wash the hair, we dry the hair naturally, so we see the natural fall of that hair. Because we have to follow Mother Nature. You go against Mother Nature and it is difficult to create an individual shape. There are nuances here. You ask your client, show me how you push your hair. Watch her hands go through her own hair. And then that is what she has been doing all her life. So we will take that into consideration as we cut. Anyway, why should you do this? Why should you take the way that this guy is cutting hair and change the way that you're cutting hair? Because hey, you're cutting hair pretty good. That's all well and good. I was cutting hair pretty good too until I found how to integrate hair cutting. What it did for me and what it has done for many stylists who I have trained through my several salons in New York and here in Red Bank, New Jersey, is that I never stopped them from cutting the way that they were taught. I never stopped them from the little bits and pieces that they brought into the salon because this is what they were comfortable with. What I did ask them to do would be to just open to what I was doing, and when they were comfortable, try it on. See how it felt. And do you know what? As each one tried it on, a spark went off. Something changed. 2 or 3 weeks later, a customer would come in for them. I'd see them consult, and then I'd see them wash their hair and dry it off. And then I'd see them suddenly pick up a pair of clippers and knock in a base shape first. I thought, how empowering was that? They would then wet it, cross-check it the way that they had been taught from wherever they come from. And then they'd dry it off, cross-check it again with a clipper to finish. And they had an individual shape. It wasn't cookie cutter. And what you will find as you come through the sides, you've knocked the sides off, is that you've not created a rough shape within 3 to 5 minutes from shoulder length hair. How marvelous. You then shampoo it, comb it through wet, see the shape that you knocked in, and then you finish it off with your scissor and comb, with what you're used to. What I just said may to you have seemed very involved. It really isn't. It will take you less time to cut a head of hair, trouble-free. It is self-correcting, and you'll find that because you're using your hands, instead of small little sections, you're putting your hand into the head, you're feeling the bone structure with the back of your hand, and hey, what? You've got 1, 2, 3 sections. The clipper comes along, it takes it off into the shape that you wish to have it cut into. You do it again, you do it again, you come through into the sides, you cut it through into the line, and you have a rough shape. Within 3 or 4 minutes of shoulder length hair, you've got a graduated bob. This is just the tip of the iceberg, what I've just told you. What I would like you to do is to subscribe to my channel, to tell your friends, and each time I bring on a new video, I will tell you more. I would like you to ask me questions, and I will answer you. I would like to become involved with you. I'd like to collaborate with you, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is unleashed in me in the last 35 years since I created the system. I'm so passionate about what I do. Believe it or not, I'm 70 years old, but I feel like a 30-year-old when I have the scissor and comb in my hand and I'm working on the material. Thank you very much. Namaste.